inflation and deflation. There is a campaign underway right now to puff up inflation and make it look good. At the same time, they are waging war against deflation to make you think it's bad. This is mind control, and they have no right to fill your head with lies and propaganda in order to rob us blind as they steal money out of the money supply by printing it and buying up all the best real estate, best corporations, the media, and a quarter of the stock market as well. In this video, I will tell you the truth about inflation and deflation as I see it. And if you want to do some research to verify or try to disprove what I say, that's okay. In the end, you will have reached a conclusion based on your own research, and that's better than taking the government's word for it. Who is the government I'm speaking about? The bozos that you erroneously think you elected? First of all, you didn't elect them. You might have voted, but they don't count your votes. They rig the election and then tell you a fairy tale about what happened. Even when we catch them, their crimes are covered up, and the race continues as if nobody got caught. It reminds me of money laundering. HSBC gets caught laundering billions of dollars in drug money. What happens? Nobody goes to jail. Nobody is fired. Nobody is even spoken to harshly. Why? The only answer has to be that those who would be doing the prosecutions are the same ones who sell the drugs and launder the money. Surprise! If caught, they arrange things so that nobody goes to jail, nobody is scolded, nobody pays the price like we the people do when we break one of their 400,000 laws that legislators passed to keep us under control so they could run free, commit any crime, and enrich themselves. Shouldn't all laws be to keep them under control? Why does Congress only pass laws that apply to us, not them? Because Congress isn't on your side. Congress is on their side. Haven't you figured it out by now? Congress doesn't represent you. Don't be silly, Willie. Congress is on their side against you. You voted for them. You give them a big salary. You give them an expense account that's 20 times their salary because you don't want them to pay for hookers out of their own money. How nice of you. No wonder almost everyone in Congress is a millionaire. You voted for them, didn't you? Did you think that they are there to represent us, you fool? Of course they aren't there for you. Where did you get that idea? They went to Washington and discovered that they can get filthy rich by going along with the agenda of those who wield all the U.S. dollars, and that would be the Federal Reserve. That's the real government, and the so-called representatives are there to carry out their wishes. Congress represents them, not us. This group with a monopoly on the nation's currency has bought 1/4 of the stock market, according to Jim Willie, who can prove things with statistics that you would never dream of, and they are mathematically sound methods. They own and control all the big banks and Goldman Sachs too. So when the government went around closing down all the stockbrokers, it was to give Goldman Sachs a monopoly because the Bankruptcy Reform Act of 2005 gave Goldman Sachs the right to take your investment portfolio if they ran into problems with their risky derivatives. Anyone who has money with Goldman Sachs is a loser. When this derivatives house of cards comes crashing down, it's going to wipe out all the big banks and Goldman Sachs because they hold most of the 1.5 quadrillion. That's $1,500 trillion worth of derivatives. And when they lose, depositors lose. So if you know a retired person with a pension, it's likely tied to either a big bank or Goldman Sachs, and it's at risk. You better urge this elderly person to get on the phone with the pension fund manager to make sure that no money is being risked at Goldman Sachs, the big banks, or the large corporations for that matter, because when the big banks and Goldman go, they will take down the stock market and values will fall to about 10% of their current bubble price and then rebound after that. I say, and many others say, that we have 30% unemployment right now, in spite of what the lying federal government tells us. I think unemployment will reach 50% or more. I think that's why they are giving the police military equipment. The sheriffs are courageously sticking to the U.S. Constitution, and if not for them, all cops would be on the side of the dictators. We should thank sheriffs when we see them. Thank them for their bravery. Tell them when the people revolt, they must remember where the sheriffs stood on the issue of the U.S. Constitution. We should tell the cops that they're going to need military equipment if they intend to survive, because the people are angry and some cops are on our side. There could be an avalanche of people grabbing guns and going after the cops who are loyal to the dictatorship, and they better watch their ass. They better decide which side of this they want to be on. If the dictators win, every cop loses. Because after it's all over, the dictators will have no use for cops anymore, and they just might dispose of them. FEMA camps, airtight buildings used as gas chambers, and a crematory at the Denver airport underground. Ask cops if they want their families living under a Nazi dictatorship. That should wake up the cops. They need to wake up and smell the coffee and the donuts. If the dictatorship takes all our wealth, what are they going to do? Leave cops with a pension at retirement, or will they take that along with everyone else's pension? Think about that, donut boy. Make up your mind for whom you wear the badge. Are you with we the people against the tyrants, or are you a wussy? What kind of beer you drink, boy? Light beer! Get a rope! That reminds me, there is a YouTube video that I want you all to see. It's called Light Beer is for Pussies. Here's the URL. Put your cursor over the round thing. It's YouTube's new thing called cards. The URL will also be in the video description. Pensions are not safe with thieves in government. There is no capital anywhere that is safe, and it's because of the actions of the government and the secret government, which is the Fed, the big banks, Goldman, and large corporations owned or controlled by the money mafia. They are one big happy family, and they own the media, so you don't get the truth. You just get propaganda. Let me now say what I came here to say. Inflation is the result of parasitic theft by those in control of the US dollar. These parasites at the Fed print money and spend it. This expands the money supply at your expense. It's at the expense of everyone who is holding US dollars. Inflation is a symptom of a disease called counterfeiting. Deflation is the opposite of inflation. With inflation, your US dollars lose purchasing power over time. With Bitcoin, your purchasing power increases. Saving money makes sense again. Capital formation results in loans to new businesses. Employment is the result of capital formation. When capital is destroyed by government, and savings are discouraged by inflation and a loss of purchasing power, unemployment will rise. And one day you will wake up and find 47 million Americans on food stamps out of a labor force of 156 million, and that's an unemployment rate of 30%. That's where we are today. I have made my point, and I know that this is a very short video. So go watch that funny video about light beer and have a laugh. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bitcoin, inflation, and deflation. There is a campaign underway right now to puff up inflation and make it look good. At the same time, they are waging war against deflation to make you think it's bad. This is mind control, and they have no right to fill your head with lies and propaganda in order to rob us blind as they steal money out of the money supply by printing it and buying up all the best real estate, best corporations, the media, and a quarter of the stock market as well. In this video, I will tell you the truth about inflation and deflation as I see it. And if you want to do some research to verify or try to disprove what I say, that's okay. In the end, you will have reached a conclusion based on your own research, and that's better than taking the government's word for it. Who is the government I'm speaking about? The bozos that you erroneously think you elected? First of all, you didn't elect them. You might have voted, but they don't count your votes. They rig the election and then tell you a fairy tale about what happened. Even when we catch them, their crimes are covered up, and the race continues as if nobody got caught. It reminds me of money laundering.